Hi, this is a presentation by myself, Queen Easy, for our Health Communications class by Dr. Michelle Person. So the topic that I chose to do was for childhood obesity between the ages of 5 to 17 years old, living in the Los Angeles County area, specifically the West Side area, among low-income families or families who have very low socioeconomic statuses. So we will begin. So these are just some quick facts about obesity between gender and race among kids between the years of 2011 to roughly 2014. So as you can see right here, the numbers are pretty high. We look at the people who are extremely obese, and then obese and overweight combined. And we see that this number is quite high, specifically among the girls and the boys, but specifically among the youth. And then it's also categorized by race. So as we can see, we look at the Asian community and also the white, who are the majority. And the number is relatively, it's not that high. But then if we compare it to Black Latinos, we see that the African Americans are at 36.1%. And then we see Latinos are at 37%. I also included this in my paper that even though they are the minority, they're also considered majority because this population is constantly rising. And then you can see how much percentage or how much difference it is from the others, from other races and other communities. So this is just a quick, if you say a quick photo of, the kind of activities that we have or lack of activities that we have for children who are obese. So around 25 million children in the United States are considered overweight or obese. This is a very, very high number because we are a growing population, but to say that number, it's very ridiculous. So we also go ahead and we look at the fast food portion sizes, and they've increased between 200 to 500% since the year 1955. And then we also go to, since 1970, childhood obesity rates have increased by 500%. And less than 25% of high school students participate in daily physical education programs. Now, in high school, they have the physical education or physical activity, but as we can see, that's not enough. And then we also look at the amounts spent just on fast food. Alone in 2011, Americans spent $168 million on fast food. This is extremely high because it just goes to show you that we're not really cooking healthy meals. Parents are not really supervising what their kids are consuming in their bodies. And then and then we look at how much time, our kids spend watching TV, playing electronics, and that's nearly 8 hours in a day. That's entirely too much when they should be outside, playing with their friends, jogging. But then we also look at the issue of, because they live in low-income areas or in neighborhoods that are not considered safe, this might also be a factor as to why they aren't really going out to be active because it's not really a safe neighborhood. And they really can't be blamed for that. But this is where, we definitely need to make changes so that we can better the health of our children. Not only do we need to make changes for them, externally, but we also need to do it internally. This is just a chart that shows some of the health issues that children face if and when they become obese. So one of them is psychological issues such as poor self-esteem. There's depression. It reduces the quality of life. When a kid is obese, it definitely affects the physical appearance, but then we also have to think about the psychological. They might become depressed, act out. It all leads to different, and it all progresses into certain issues. So we also have mental health issues. We have internal as well. So type 2 diabetes is a factor. The renal, that's another factor. Cardiovascular issues, neurological issues, they're at risk for stroke. Gastrointestinal, they can get liver fibrosis, gallstones, They're at risk, higher risk for colon cancer, which is very, very scary because these are just children. So for them to be going through these things at such a young age and just be, susceptible to all these diseases is very, very shocking. We also there's flat feet for them. They can develop hernias very easily, and you really can't get rid of those very easily unless you have surgery. So that's something else that we need to look at. Now, my program or my call to action is eating away at childhood obesity. The goal is to decrease childhood obesity by creating and implementing free educational workshops for students. These workshops will go over the course of the 12-month campaign. So we want to include 20 workshops, and they're going to be interchanging with physical activity and nutrition education workshops that focus on different food groups. And we also want to test their knowledge by, giving them pre-test and post-test. So pre-test before the nutrition and physical activity workshops, and the post-test after we've completed the program to test their knowledge on it. And then, we also want to, evaluate how well this program is going to work. So going back to program evaluation class, we will go ahead and focus on the logic model. And for the logic model, that's where you have your input, which leads to that. It has your input, activities, the outputs, which finally leads to the outcome. So in this case, we want to focus on children. They are the input, 5 to 17 years, living in disadvantaged areas or low socioeconomic statuses. And then the activities would be the nutrition education as well as the physical activity. And then the outputs is the pre and the post test to see how much they know, how much they've known before, and how much they're going to learn, and how much they've learned after. And then the final outcome that we want to achieve is reducing and eventually eliminating childhood obesity. I believe this is a very effective program evaluation method, and specifically the logic model is fitting for this type of program because it progresses and it's one thing leading to another. So we want to, in the end, achieve a final goal. Now, if you focus on the nutrition education activity, we go and we talk about My Plate, which is formerly known as My Food Pyramid. And this is where it incorporates your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, your protein, and then your dairy. So essentially, My Plate is where it tells you what you're supposed to be eating and how much of it you're supposed to be eating. So a quarter should be vegetables, the other quarter should be grains, fruits, protein, and then a little bit of it should be dairy. And this is going to get covered in the workshop for EAACO, Eating Away at Childhood Obesity. And this is some of the things that are going to be incorporated into the workshop. So they'll talk about different categories and different food groups, such as protein, dairy, whole grains, and of course you have your fruits and your vegetables as well. Then we move on to the physical activity, where it tells you, we talk about muscle flexibility, the vigorous aerobics, how much exercise they should be getting, various sports. We'll also focus on cardio and swimming and anything to get them moving and to have them just to have fun, because they are kids. So we want to make this a fun program for them. So our final goal is we can fight obesity. Childhood obesity has been at a higher percentage, and it is a grave public health issue that shouldn't be happening, in the year that we live in. It's 2016. We know a little bit better. We know about nutrition, education, physical activity, how to eat healthy, what to put in our bodies, how much water we need to drink, not to consume as much fast food. We talk about like our vital and our play foods, which is something that we need to keep emphasizing because, children, they're the future. So what's a future without children? So we want to keep them healthy, we want to keep them happy, and most importantly, we want them to be focused and to learn and to take things away and just to progress in life. In childhood, obesity should not be a distraction. It should not be something that's going to hold them back. And that is my presentation. And these are my references. Thank you.